Tadparam Paryaya Vidmahe Jnanalingeshwaraya Dhimahi Tanno Guru Prachodayate Om. Om Yogamaharishi Dr. Swami Gitananda Giri Guru Maharaj ki Jai. Om Puduvai Kalaimamani Puduvai Shakti Yogacharini Ammaji Meenakshi Devi Bhavanani Guru Mata ki Jai. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Namaste, Vanakkam, Swagatam, Bonjour, Buongiorno, Buonasera, Buonanotte. Huya More, Boreida, Kiora, Salamat Pagi, Ayu Bovan, Ayushman Bhava, Shubh Dinam, Suprapad, Salam. Welcome back to Scintillating Saturdays in this part of the world, Fabulous Fridays for those in North America. And what is the topic for today? Purushartha. What a beautiful concept our Indian culture has given us. What Sanatana Dharma has given us. This eternal culture, a culture that is infinite, a culture that is sustaining, nourishing, enriching, transforming, and transcendental. In the Indian culture of Sanatana Dharma, it is said that there are 4 legitimate aims of life. And these legitimate aims of life are called the Chaturvida Purushartha. Sometimes termed as Chatur Purushartha. Chatur meaning 4. Chaturvida, 4 types. Purushartha. Purusha Artha. It is very beautiful when you understand the meaning of that term itself. A very beautiful term that we can find there. Purusha Artha. Artha meaning the reason, the purpose. Now, one of the most important aspects of being human is to have a purpose. If you don't have a purpose as a human being, well, you better find it. Search for it. Because having a purpose in life is essential to fulfilling our dharma. And that is why a purposeful, meaningful life is part of the sense of coherence, which is the heart of salutogenesis. To feel that your life is understandable, manageable, and purposeful. This is the sense of coherence, the heart of salutogenesis, of wellness, well-being, swasth. So when we look at this, the term artha, purushartha, purusha artha, here meaning the purpose that the purusha is existing, the purpose for which the purusha exists. Now what is this purusha? We are that pure consciousness, the Purusha, the Ishvara, according to Yoga and Sankhya. This could be termed as Atma, Paramatma, Brahman in other perspectives. When we understand that Purusha is the pure consciousness that lies behind everything. The pure consciousness that lies behind everything and is constantly experiencing everything behind it, behind the scenes. The master behind the puppet show. The puppets are thinking they are doing it all, but it's the master who lies behind the scene, behind the screen. So we have the Purusha and then Prakriti, and the play between both of them is what we experience in this world, this universe. That Purusha, which is the pure consciousness, the Ishvara, as Maharishi Patanjali defines Purusha, he says, Vishesha Purusha. Ishvara is a Vishesha Purusha. Klesha Karma Vipaka Ashayai Aparamrishta. That Purusha, that special Purusha, that special pure consciousness, that being, which is beyond the ramifications of the Klesha and the Karma Pala. So the Klesha and Karma are binding us into the sensory experience of the world in which we are engaging ourselves. But the Purusha, the pure consciousness, the Ishvara Tattva, is beyond it. And in the final goal, which is Kaivalya, we are once again regaining our essential nature. Tadadhrashtu swarupe avasthanam at the level of Chitta Vritti Nirodha, and at the level of Kaivalya, even the gunas which are part of the manifest universe have involuted. Once they have completed the purpose, it is called Purushartha Shunyanam. Once the purpose has been completed, Purushartha Shunyanam, Gunanam, those gunas, the three gunas, Tamasika, Rajasika, Sattvika Guna, Pratiprasava, they involute back to the source, and presto, bingo, Kaivalya occurs. Purushartha Shunyanam Gunanam Pratiprasava Kaivalyam, says Maharishi Patanjali. This one verse is more than enough for our life. It is not about going out, but it is about going in. It is not about evolution, but it's about involution. It is not about extroversion, but it's about going introversion and finding that ambiversion, that state of being within us. Neither extrovert nor introvert, ambivert. You are in balance, samatvam, sthita prajna. Purushartha implies that there is a purpose. And in another place, Maharishi Patanjali very beautifully tells us, why does all of this drama occur? Why does all of this drama occur? He says, twin purpose. Twin purpose. He says, all of this drama is occurring. Why is it occurring? For the purpose of your experience. Bhoga. So he says, all of this is occurring. There is a coming together and confusion and experience for the sake of enhancing your growth through experience. Bhoga. But he says it doesn't stop at bhoga, because it has to be yoga, right? It doesn't stop at bhoga. It has to be apavarga. Apavarga is another term for kaivalya, liberation, and the higher states of samadhi, ultimately going into kaivalya. He says, bhoga apavargartam drishyam. Why is all of this happening? Why does this happen? Well, for you to experience it and transcend it. So go through it and transcend it. Go through it and go beyond it. Through and beyond. That is the message he is giving us. So when we use the term Purushartha, it implies there is a purpose behind whatever is happening. The second thing, it is not us as this individual who is experiencing, but it is the pure consciousness of Purusha coming to us who are a mini Purusha. It is like there's a huge mirror. The huge mirror is Purusha, Ishvara. Now that mirror is composed of infinite fragments. Now if you break the mirror, you will see all the fragments. So we have become reductionist, breakdown thinkers, because we have to break the mirror to know, oh, there are infinite fragments. We cannot see the infinite fragments when they are all in that wholesome nature. That's how stupid we are. So we have to break everything down. We have to reduce everything. We have to cut everything and put it in a box, and then we will study it, including studying yoga. Yoga in the box. Yoga in the box is not yoga. As simple as that is yoga in the box. We need to remember that. Yoga in the box is not yoga, it's yoga in the box. You need yoga unboxed. Yoga without boundaries. Yoga sans frontiers. And they have the doctors beyond borders, yoga beyond borders. Yoga sans frontiers. That is what you need. When we are talking about the experience, we are talking about a mirror. That whole mirror, the wholesome mirror is Purusha. The pieces of that mirror, the fragments of that mirror, each and every fragment is also still Purusha, but because it has broken down, because it has become separate by breaking, breakdown is separation, reductionism is separation, wholesomeness is integration. So that breakdown that occurs creates a break. Tad chidreshu. There is a break, a chidre. Tad chidreshu. There is a break that occurs. Because of that, we get afflicted by the klesha and karma. So we are not Ishvara. We are Ishvara, but afflicted by klesha karma. So get rid of klesha karma, you once again become Ishvara. Formula. So coming back here, every Purusha, every individual is a fragment of the big piece. We are all a piece of the pie. The pie is Ishvara. For those of you who like pie charts. We are all a piece of the pie. The whole pie is Ishvara. So every one of us is a representative of that Purusha. So our experience on this planet, Karma Bhumi, called Prithvi, Earth, the green planet, now not so green, becoming a brown planet. Hope we don't become a red planet like Mars. This green planet, Karma Bhumi, when we are incarnated here, we are going to have certain experiences. Those experiences that we are having are actually being experienced by the Mahapurusha. In our tradition, our Shankaracharya, the senior is called Mahapiryava. Piryava, Mahapiryava. And that is the big guy of the biggest of the big guys. Mahapiryava. Piryava already means big guy. Mahapiryava means the biggest of the big guys. See, this is the formula. The biggest of the big guys. So, we are talking about that Ishvara, that Mahapurusha, that Vishesha Purusha, who is untainted by Klesha Karma, experiencing through each and every one of us, who is also a Purusha. What a beautiful concept to take home. We are a tool of the divine. It's called Nimitta Bhava. Narayana Bhava, Narayana Arpana Bhava, Nimitta Bhava. We are a tool of the divine. It's another beautiful one to experience. How does the divine, how does the Purusha, how does the Brahman, how does God, call it whatever you want, he, she, it. How does he, she, it experience this manifest universe? Through us. Through us, yes. Because God, people like God. God sees through us. God thinks through us. God works through us. God moves through us. That is why our teachings say, Ayam me hasto Bhagavan, Ayam me pado Bhagavan, Ayam me Bhagavan. And that is why our beautiful Purusha Suktam. Sahasra Sirsha Purusha Sahasraksha Sahasrapad Sabhumin Vishvato Vritva Atyatishtat Dashangulam. What a beautiful teaching. That Purusha, that Ishvara, that Mahapurusha, that Vishesha Purusha is seeing through each and every one of our eyes. So it has infinite eyes. We say 1,000, it doesn't mean 1,000. Sahasra here means infinite, countless. Working through our hands. We want God to come and stand in front of us. God is standing in front of us in the form of everyone who interacts in our life. Those who you like, those who you don't like, they are all manifestation of God, and you are also a manifestation of God. So let us start to understand Namaskaram, Namaste. I bow to that divinity manifesting through you. The divine in me bows to the divine in you. What a world we would have if we could see that. That Purusha has an artha, has a purpose. So when the Purusha is coming through us, we as a fragment of that Purusha, which is also called Purusha, that is why Patanjali distinguishes Ishvara by saying Vishesha Purusha. We are all Purusha. Ishvara is Vishesha. Vishesha means very special. Why Ishvara is special? Klesha karma vipaka ashayai aparamashta. Beautiful concept, that as long as we are afflicted by the klesha karma, we are stuck, we are bound. When we transcend the klesha and karma, we are once again Ishvara. So we are Ishvara having an experience, and every experience we have is an experience that is experienced by the experiencer, that is Ishvara. Purushartha. And that is why in Sanatana Dharma, this beautiful culture, it was said that when you manifest as a human being, which means you have to be human, not a human doing. You are not to do human, you are supposed to be human. That's why it's called human being. When we manifest as a human being, there are certain aims, goals. There are certain aspects that we can strive to manifest in our life. And it is said there are four. The four noble aims of life. The legitimate goals of life. The legitimate aspirations of life. And it is said Dharma. Dharma is the first one. Because as Ammaji so beautifully puts it, Dharma is the bedrock of consciousness. Dharma is the bedrock of consciousness. Now what is this Dharma? Dharma is fulfilling your responsibility. You say, oh my God, Dr. Ananda, I don't know what is my responsibility. Well, start contemplating about it. Start asking yourself the question, why am I here? What am I doing? And you will start to find the answers from inside. Answers can never come from outside, they have to come from within. Seek and the answer comes from within. Dharma is responsibility, the ability to respond as appropriate to that situation. Appropriate responsiveness is Dharma. Because when you are responding appropriately, it means you are being mindful of the choices you make. Being mindful of the choices you make implies that Dharma is now in action. Mindless action is adharma. And again, Dharma has to be untainted, because the moment it gets tainted, you are bound by karma. When it is untainted, nishkama karma, it starts to become part of your dharma. Dharma is a type of nishkamya karma. Because you are fulfilling your purpose for the sake of fulfilling your purpose, not for anything else. Neither because you are afraid, nor because you are going to get something. Neither reward nor punishment, which is part of the operant conditioning. You are not bound by operant conditioning. You are unbound. You are not conditioned. You have transcended conditioning and have become an unconditioned. Now this is not unconditioning. Let's call it trans-conditioning. You have unconditioned, conditioned, trans-conditioned. You have transcended conditioning by the power of choice. That becomes dharma. When you start to live your dharma, when you start to fulfill your dharma, dharma is the first legitimate aspiration that we need to have as a human being. That is why the great Tamil Mudati Avvai, she starts in her Ati Sudi, one of the most important teachings that every Tamil kid learns here. Aram Seyya Virumbu. That's the first one. Not just because it starts with the A. Aram Seyya Virumbu Arvadhu Sinam. Beautiful teachings. Aram Seyya Virumbu. Aspire to live your dharma. The first teaching. Now people think aram means doing nothing. That's also a problem. Akarmani, not doing what you are to do, is also brings karma. Doing what you are not to do brings karma. Not doing what you are to do also brings karma. No escape. Sins of omission, sins of commission. Both. So coming back, dharma implies mindful, attentive, conscious, in the moment living. And that should be our first aspiration. Because if that aspiration is not there, the rest of it can actually become a misguided journey. The bedrock, the foundation is dharma. And again, each of us has our own dharma. It's called swadharma. Swadharma. And Lord Krishna tells us very clearly in the Bhagavad Gita, you are to fulfill your dharma, not somebody else's dharma. We always think we can do a better job than the president of the USA. I can do a better job than, the chief minister of my state. No, that is their job. What is your job? No, I don't want to do it. We are incompetent to do our job, but we think we are competent to do other people's job. This is the biggest problem we have. We need to look at our own dharma, swadharma. And Krishna so beautifully tells us in the Bhagavad Gita, better to die, better to perish, trying to fulfill your dharma, than try to do somebody else's dharma, how much ever exalted it may seem. It may seem. See, a lion aspires to be a lion, not a donkey, okay? A donkey aspires to be a donkey, not a human being. See, every living being is fulfilling its dharma by being itself. A squirrel is a squirrel, a rat is a rat, a snake is a snake, an alligator is an alligator, a python is a python, a bird is a bird, an owl is an owl. Ooh, yes. And then we human beings, we want to be someone else. We want to be someplace else. We want to do something else. You don't have to be someone else. You have to be someone. Some, S-U-M, one. The summation of oneness is what we have to be, not someone else. Somewhere, no. It's not somewhere. It is where you are. Be aware of where you are and make it the sum, S-U-M, of where you are. The summation of who you are, where you are, and what you are, something. Because the paradharma, yes, it's always tempting, Nehru. It's always tempting. Huh? The grass is always greener on the other side, and most probably it's artificial on that side. That's why it's so bright green. Beware of bright green grass. It may be artificial. Same thing in the field of yoga. Lot of plastic. Artificial gold jewelry often shines brighter than real gold jewelry. Fake diamonds shine brighter than real diamonds. And that's why we have to be very careful. We have to use viveka. We have to have discernment. Our dharma is our dharma alone. Nobody else can fulfill our dharma. This is the teaching that Ratnakara, the forest highway robber, had to learn for him to become Valmiki and give us the Ramayana. No one can fulfill your dharma except you. Nobody can work out your karma except you. And that is why the onus of responsibility is on the self. Self-responsibility is where it all starts. And self-responsibility is Swadharma. When you start to ask yourself the question, what is my role here? How can I fulfill that role efficiently with minimal collateral damage? You have started to learn about your dharma. And once you fulfill your dharma, you then are eligible for the next three. What a beautiful thing. You have to get one done and then the next three you are eligible. Artha, Kama, Moksha. Artha implies material prosperity. Prosperity at the material level. It is to do with things, it's to do with material objects. It is to do about, what we think our belongings are in this world. Now that artha often becomes the focus of most people. Most people today are locked in artha consciousness. Artha consciousness can be understood as, what can I get? What will I get? What's in it for me? That is artha consciousness. Now, if you don't have dharma consciousness and you have artha consciousness, you will want to get it by any means, hook or crook. Because there's no dharma there. So when it is without dharma, artha consciousness becomes adharma if it is not based on dharma. That is why dharma is the bedrock. When your artha is based on dharma, it is in tune with it. You are doing what you are to do and you will be rewarded for it with the material prosperity. Again and again I have seen this in my life. Do what you are to do. Be the person you are to be and things will come to you. But the moment you put the horse before the cart, or the cart before the horse, whichever way it is, you have lost track of it. We put the outcome before the input. If I join your class, what will I get? Gone, artha consciousness. I will join your class for the sake of joining it, and then through the process of learning, you will get what you deserve, whichever that certificate, medal, job, whatever you need will come. I was asked yesterday by Divya, why don't you do level 1, level 2, level 3, YCB, coaching and all that? And so many people will join your classes so that then they can pass the yoga certification board exams. And I told her, I said, that's not my dharma. My dharma is to teach those who come to yoga for the sake of yoga and nothing else. I am not here to teach people who want a certificate because of it. I am not here to teach people who will pass an exam because of attending my class. I am least interested in that material side. I am only interested in students who love yoga and want yoga for the sake of yoga. Those who want yoga for the sake of yoga, those are the ones I hold close to my heart. Those are the ones I want to teach. Now, in the process, you can get a certification. In the process, you will pass UGC NEET. In the process, you will get a job. In the process, blah, 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 blah. In the process. Focus on the process. Process-oriented. Yoga for the sake of yoga. Not yoga for a job. Not yoga for even better health. Not even yoga for kaivalya. Yoga for the sake of yoga. Yoga for the sake of yoga. That sounds like a nice sutra, right? Yoga for the sake of yoga. Practice yoga for the sake of yoga. Live yoga for the sake of yoga. Do yoga for the sake of yoga. Be yoga for the sake of yoga. Nice Sounds like a new sutra, okay? That is what we want. Yoga for the sake of yoga, not yoga for this. Yoga for diabetes, yoga for hypertension, yoga for job, yoga for sex, yoga for blood, yoga for madness, yoga for becoming mad. I'm already mad, don't worry. It is yoga for the sake of yoga. The rest of it will come. When you fulfill dharma, the artha will come on its own. I guarantee you. That is what Vyasa has told us. Veda Vyasa has told us. We celebrated Vyasa Guru Purnima a few days ago. All the rishis have told us, artha will come, my dear children. Artha will come. Fulfill your dharma. And instead of fulfilling dharma, we want a shortcut to artha. It becomes adharmic. It's like those students who want to pass the exam without attending classes. Some people don't even write the exam and they want to pass. Peak of adharma. Modern Kali Yuga. Artha is material prosperity. When you fulfill your dharma, the artha will come on its own. You will get a job. You will get enough money for your needs, not for your greed. Greed can never be fulfilled. Bottomless hole, black hole. Greed can never. That is why aparigraha is given as part of the yama, so that we remember. We have to transcend greed. We have to look at need. When you live your dharma, your needs will be taken care of. Again and again I have seen it. Again and again I have seen it. Then comes the third one, Kama. Now Kama is normally given a bad name, because Kama is usually associated with a Shatripu, one of the 6 enemies of the spirit. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. Or it is called a Deha Dosha, one of the body afflictions. But in this context of the Chaturvida Purushartha, it is very different here, because in the context when you fulfill your dharma, you become eligible. And you have passed the eligibility exam. When you fulfill your dharma, you have passed the dharma eligibility exam. Nowadays we have an eligibility test for everything in India. To become a doctor, eligibility; to become an engineer, eligibility; to come out of medical school, now they have an eligibility exit, they call it. For everything, to become a professor, you have UGC, NET, National Eligibility Test, NET. Like that, Dharma Eligibility Test, DET, D-E-T. If you pass that DET, D-E-T, Dharma Eligibility Test, automatically Artha comes, automatically Kama will also come. Now what is that Kama? It is emotional prosperity, emotional fulfillment. We as a human being have emotional needs. It's part and parcel of being a human being. We need company. We need intimacy. We need support. So important. We need it. It's part and parcel of a human need. It's a biological need. And that is why Indian culture didn't say, oh, that is bad. It said it is fine. But there is a legitimate manner in which you can fulfill that need, which is in tune with dharma rather than adharma. And that is where when we live our dharma, we will start to find people in our life who will support those emotional needs that we have. Those needs for love, for care, for respect, for mutual coexistence, for intimacy. All of this will be supported, and it can be supported on the bedrock of dharma. Rather than people who say, I want to fulfill my emotional needs at any cost. Any cost. Well, then you bear the repercussions, because you said at any cost, and usually the cost is very high. when we try to fulfill these needs in a shortcut, when we try to bypass dharma and move into adharma, there's always going to be an issue. There's always going to be an issue because Artha and Kama, yes, Deolji, Artha and Kama, they sort of go together. And I like your metaphor. Sandwiched between Dharma and Moksha, the freedom sandwich. I love that. Dharma is the foundation and the top layer is Moksha, and in between, Kama and Artha. Beautiful. What we want is, we want to gratify self-gratification, but we don't want self-responsibility. Now, it doesn't work like that. Freedom and responsibility go hand in hand. There cannot be freedom without responsibility, and with responsibility comes freedom. But people think freedom is the absence of responsibility, and that responsibility is a loss of freedom. That is the biggest issue we have today. Freedom and responsibility go together. We humans have totally misunderstood responsibility and freedom. We think responsibility is a chain, and we think freedom is the freedom to do anything we want in an adharmic way. When you are bypassing dharma, it becomes adharma. As simple as that. And the moment it is adharmic, you are going to bear the repercussions whether you like it or not, and whether you can see it now or not. The other day I was asked by someone, they said, why is it all my friends can do anything they want and get away with it, but I cannot, and I suffer so much? I'm like, because you are evolved. The more you are evolved, the faster it comes back. My father used to call it instant karma, where you do something which you should not do and immediately you get punched in the nose. Now you have got rid of it. Karma balance has been settled right away. You gave somebody 50 rupees, they gave you back 20 rupees, and your equation is finished. You purchased and finished it. It's not like a credit card that you never know when the bill is going to come and how you are going to pay it. And most people get into this credit card of lifetime after lifetime with the karma balance. As you evolve consciously, spiritually, and as you grow into that humaneness, you will find that the moment you do something wrong, bang. And my father used to say instant karma. He said, be happy about it. Because if you have instant karma, it means you are working it out, which is excellent, because then it is not going to be carried. You will not have any karmic balance to go into the next lifetime as your sanchita karma. Because your kriyamana karma and prarabdha karma is all being rubbed away now itself. You are erasing your account right now. You are settling your dues right now. Isn't that wonderful? Compared to doing whatever you want and not knowing when the bombs are going to go off in your life or in the next life. And then you have no clue. Why is it all these bad things happen to me? Okay, fine. Zoom out. Look at all the different lifetimes and you see the picture, but we cannot zoom out. Because our nose is right down there. Our nose is so close. You know the beautiful nose? Yeah, that's my beautiful nose. It's so down there that we have no perspective. You have to elevate yourself and see the bigger perspective, and suddenly you say, oh my God, because I have not been fulfilling my dharma, the artha and kama I have been trying to get has led me into the karmic whirlpool. And that is why the antidote to karma is dharma. The vaccine against karma is dharma. So dharma is both the antidote. So it is the antidote. What is dharma? Antidote to manifest karma, vaccine against unmanifest karma. That is why it is the bedrock. That is why the Chatur Purushartha start with Dharma, Artha, Kama, Mokshanam, Chaturvida Purushartham. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Mokshanam, Chaturvida Purushartham. It starts with Dharma. Doesn't start with Moksha. Doesn't start with Artha. Doesn't start with Kama. Dharma is the bedrock. If we are to fulfill Purushartha, Dharma has to be lived. no excuse. My father called it no excuse living. When we live a life of dharma, artha, dharma, then artha will start to be fulfilled in a legitimate dharmic manner. The emotional needs, you will have emotional prosperity. You will have emotional satiety through the dharmic means. And when those three come together, dharma, artha, kama, well, you are now ready for the spiritual prosperity, for that spiritual fulfillment. Fulfill your responsibility, dharma, and material needs will be fulfilled, artha, emotional needs will be fulfilled, kama, and spiritual needs will be fulfilled, moksha. What a beautiful formula for noble living. A formula for noble living that is based on the foundation of dharma. When we fulfill dharma, in the Tirukural, the Tamil scripture, we call it the Ulaga Podumarai. We call it a world scripture because its teachings are applicable across humanity. A scripture of humanity, the Tirukural by Thiruvalluvar. In his 133 chapters, 10 verses each, so 1330 verses. These chapters are divided into 3 sections. Aram, Porul, Inbam. So the first part is Aram, second part is Porul, third part is Inbam. What is Aram? It is Dharma. What is Porul? It is Artha. What is Inbam? It is Kama. And Saint Thiruvalluvar has not talked about moksha. He has only talked about Dharma, Artha, Kama. And people have said, why? Well, the reason is, if you fulfill Dharma, Artha, Kama, moksha will come on its own. Because you have fulfilled all the prerequisites, the final attainment will happen on its own. You don't have to do anything for it. People think they have to do something for moksha. The other day we had a student come and meet Ammaji. And he was going on and on and on and on. What is moksha? Is moksha better than this? And is moksha that and all? Very sincere seeker, but this repeated moksha, 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 moksha. And at one point, it came up, what is moksha? And Amma said, moksha is not asking too many questions. Or maybe it was, moksha is when there are no questions left. Could be phrased. I think she said, it is when you don't ask too many questions or something like that. What a beautiful phrase. When all your questions have been answered, you don't have to question anymore. You don't have to question anymore. Moksha occurs. That is why, step by step, do the first things first. Everybody wants this shortcut. Now, if I give you a ladder and the ladder has 100 steps in it, I hope you will climb step by step to get to that 100th step. But imagine you don't have the first 50 steps. How are you going to get up there to the ladder? We need the steps at the base in order for us to go high. That is why the process, as Patanjali tells us so beautifully, Bhoga apavargartam drishyam. The Bhoga is part of it, yes. What is that Bhoga? Dharmartha Kama. What is that apavarga? That is Kaivalya, Moksha, Mukti, Nirvana. Both. But you need to go through this to go beyond it. You have to go through it to go beyond it. People want to go beyond it without going through it. Not possible. You have to do the first things first, as Swamiji would say. Do the first things first. And he said, do it now. Din, din, din. Do it now. Din, din, din. That was the thing. When we live our dharma, we start to fulfill our dharma. That is the fulfillment of our responsibility. If you are a human being, your responsibility is to be human. And then what is your role on this planet? Are you a son? As a son, you have a certain dharma. As a father, you have a certain dharma. As a mother, as a daughter, as a wife, you have a certain dharma. As a teacher, you have a certain dharma. As the citizen of a certain country, you have a certain dharma. As a world citizen, you have a certain dharma. As a dog owner, you have a certain dharma. As a cat owner, you have a certain dharma. And if you don't have a cat and a dog, you have a certain dharma. Fulfill it. What is your responsibility where you are? Where you are. Not some other place. The sum of where you are, the sum of whatever thing is there, and the sum of whatever one you are. That is what you have to focus on. And automatically, what starts to happen? The artha starts to come into your life. You start to find a fulfillment of your needs. That fulfillment of needs will start to happen spontaneously. People will come into your life to fulfill your emotional needs. Spontaneously it will happen. It starts to come in. As you fulfill your dharma, the artha kama will start to come in. And as you grow in this dharma, artha kama, you will become then eligible for moksha to occur. You will be eligible for that ultimate freedom. And at that point, Purusha Artha, the purpose of us incarnating as a Purusha, the purpose that that fragment of the mirror existed for a period of time will be fulfilled. Because now that fragment of the mirror understands. The fragment of the mirror now understands what the wholesome mirror is. And thank you, Bharataji. This world is upheld by Dharma, says the Atharva Veda. Prosperity arises from Dharma. Happiness emerges from Dharma. Everything is obtained by means of Dharma. For the world has Dharma as its essence in the great Ramayana. People often forget the Ramayana, the Mahabharata are yogic scriptures. We tend to think of them as religious scriptures. People again think of Dharma as religion because often that word is interlaced. It's like the confusion between spirituality and religion has existed so long. Maybe that's a topic for another day, spirituality and religion. But today, it is the Purushartha. When we have lived a life of fulfillment, we have filled ourselves fully. Fulfillment. We have filled ourselves fully. Because we have realized who we truly are. We have understood that SUM. We have understood the summation. We have understood that wholesomeness. We have understood the Purnam. And at that point we realize Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om. And we realize that wholesomeness. And that moment is a moment of moksha. May we all be blessed to live these teachings, eternal teachings, life-enriching teachings, life-nourishing teachings, life-sustaining teachings, life-transforming teachings, and life-transcending teachings. Be blessed wherever you are and be a blessing wherever you are. Hari Om Tat Sat. Dhanyavadaha. Thank you. Nandri. Vanakkam.